Well, hey guys, today we're talking about why are men leaving the church. So Kevin and Ryan, first of all, for you guys, how hard is it for you to get your butt out of bed and get to church on a Sunday morning? Be honest, Kevin.
It's not hard for me to get out of bed, but a lot of times it's hard for me to get to church.
To get motivated to go to church?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I try and stay motivated. You know, Ryan and I talked about this earlier, that we try and stay motivated in our lives to be better businessmen,
right,
better husbands, better
right,
fathers,
right,
and spiritually to improve ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in, you know, we go to the gym.
Yeah.
I do anyway. And we try and get physically fit, and you need to be well-rounded. And a lot of times I'm doing all these things, but once in a while you start straying off.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the one thing that is easiest for me to miss. It's Sunday. I can just, I sleep in a little bit anyway, but.
So is it the guy's fault or is it the church's fault? That's kind of what I want to get at with this conversation. Like, I know it's not 100% anyone's fault, but some people would argue, well, the church is too effeminate. And then other people would say, well, men have to step up and lead, like what you said.
Right.
You probably would recognize, well, some of this is I got to work on myself spiritually, not just with my business and all these other things. What would you say? Which one? Church or guy's fault? Ryan, what would you say?
I would think it's both people's fault.
Yeah.
Or both groups or entities.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't like to go to church a lot of time on Sunday because I didn't want to have to press a shirt. I'm pressing a shirt 5 days a week, or whatever, ironing slacks, or picking up dry cleaning. Now Sunday rolls around, I'm like, I don't want to go get all dressed up on a Sunday morning. So for a lot of churches, for somebody like me, in an environment like that, I'd rather not go sometimes because I'm going to be lazy. The game's coming on, or whatever else. So the environment isn't something that makes it easy for me to come, and so it's laziness. And so I don't know how you can really pin that on the church. But I do think that a church that's got a casual attire that's something that I'm going to go to, because I can wake up, throw jeans on and a shirt, and I'm going to go, and it's not going to keep me from. That's one less obstacle that has got to be overcome for a lazy person.
Okay,
like to go.
I think that's a really good one. So let's name a couple of other obstacles. I like to do this at my church. I stand in the back and I like to watch the guys.
Yeah.
Because I really want to see what, like, the guy. You can tell when a guy was drugged there by his wife.
Yeah. Hands in pockets.
Hands in pockets.
Yeah.
What is the girliest thing that we do you think, in the church today? Singing.
That's when you see half of the men most disengaged.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's just the opposite. I enjoy the singing part.
What do you think is the most girly thing?
I don't know that there is one. I mean, especially at your church. I think it's very masculine, and I think this is the only church I've ever been able to come to.
Yeah.
And come continuously to, because I like the camaraderie. I like the football aspect. I like seeing my friends there, and because I know quite a few people there. And I just enjoy it. It's the camaraderie for me.
But I think, Ryan, what you're saying about music, I do recognize. I'm with you, Kevin. I like to sing, but I grew up in the church. And for a guy, like if you invite a buddy off the street, a buddy at work, and he comes the first time, when are you most uncomfortable? Kevin, maybe for you, when are you most uncomfortable during the service? When are you most comfortable during the service, typically?
I think a part that can make some folks feel uncomfortable, I went to churches where it's stand up and greet each other for 5 or 10 minutes. Turn around and shake a hand. Give someone a hug. Look at a guy and tell him you love him. It's like, oh my God, seriously? I don't want anything to do with this. I'm trying to sit in the back. I'm trying to get out of here before someone asks me to show up every Sunday and be an usher or sweep a parking lot or hand out coffee. And now I got to turn around and shake hands with people I don't even want them to know that I'm here. So I think that can be a stumbling block for men and for churches, And the singing, I think the singing and the worship part of it, I really enjoy it, but it's something that I've experienced, I've connected with, and so I understand it, So I have a kid who won't eat Rocky Road ice cream, and I'm like, you're crazy, just try this and you'll love it.
Yeah.
But if that's new to you, you don't want anything to do that. You're going to stand there and what are we doing? What are we singing about?
Yeah.
Some of the lyrics in the songs are funny.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I'm in love with you, God. I adore you, God.
Right.
And you got these men in there that are like, what are we doing?
Well, yeah, stuff that insiders, if you grew up in the church, if you've been going for a while, it kind of grows on you. Maybe you're used to it. Even if you don't always engage in worship, which I hope you do, but at least you understand it and you're gracious toward it. And I still know guys that have been going for years to the church, and they're just like, can we just get to the sermon? Which I think is a little bit of, they're missing a little bit of the point. because I do think that worshiping God, even in song, is still important because it humbles you as a man. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be humbled and come before God and tell him he's God and we're not, right?
Yeah.
But for my buddy that I might bring from the neighborhood for the first time, I can't wait for the songs to be over, right? Because I know it's awkward for him because he's not singing.
Yeah.
He's not engaging in that. So
and he's feeling like he should be singing, but he doesn't want to sing.
Right.
Or he doesn't even know the song.
He doesn't know the song.
Or he can't sing.
Or he can't sing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that's awkward. So what about when you get to the sermon? Typically, is that a positive part of the service for the average guy or a negative part? What would you say?
I think it's a positive part. It's something I look forward to. It's every week it's a different message and I get something out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, especially for us at our church, we always you guys might not know this, but we always prep a sermon with men in mind, because our mindset is women will come anyway. And probably women even want you to talk to their husband. They want you to talk in a way that engages their husband. So you speak to men and you get everybody, generally speaking. Now that might not be true in every church, but that's how we generally like to think about it. So by the time we get to the sermon, we like to have to think that we're really connecting with guys. One more question. What would you say to the guy who might be watching this video, who Kevin relates to the idea that, yeah, it's hard for me to motivate myself to go to church. Yeah. Like what would your words be to them, to that guy who he might even have a good reason to not go because the church is whatever, just doesn't appeal to him? What are you going to say to that guy?
I would say just to put forth some effort, have an open heart, have an open mind, because if you do that, you're going to get something out of it, and it's gonna enrich your life. So
that's good.
Go to church.
Ryan, you got anything to add to that?
I mean, how do you put it better than that? Yeah. I would say.
Were you that guy that was years ago? I know that you're really regular at church now. You're really involved. You're a leader. But can you think back to when you were that guy? What would you say to yourself from 10 years ago or whatever?
It would be this. Well, the first step for me was as a father.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to impact my children, and I wanted my children to learn what I learned.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be able to depend on the Lord when they go through hard times, because I'm not going to be around to guide them all of the time. They're going to have to make hard choices when I'm not there. So I want them to have a support system, if you will, and a belief system to be able to depend on. And so I didn't really feel at the time that I was equipped to be able to do that. Just being a guy who went to church off and on as a kid, and now I'm an adult, and now I've got kids. And so to me, that was a great reason to go.
Yeah.
Now there's other reasons, right? I want to be a better father. I'm intentionally trying to improve as a father or as a husband or just as a man, a friend, maybe an employee or as a boss if you're a leader in professional situations, right? And so I think anytime we disconnect from something, I was really into FanDuel and fantasy football, and I was, sorry, I was betting. We say it's not betting, but it's betting. So but you have to be in tune with who's playing, who's starting, who's injured, who's not, right? And the more if you stop doing that each week, you're not going to fare as well, right? Yeah. And so I think for me spiritually, or as a leader, as a father, the more I disconnect from sort of recharging my battery, the lower my battery is.
Yeah.
The less energy I have to perform those tasks at my optimum level.
Yeah.
And so for me, coming to church, I'm able to charge that battery up.
Yeah.